Understood. Let's go ahead and place the plan out to precinct 47. One unit, how does it go?
I think somebody's knocking at the door.
Same thing.
You're not me. Sorry, Chief Russo.
That's fine. That's fine. Good morning, everyone.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Ken, staff liaison.
Good morning.
Just give it another couple more minutes. I do have 10:02 at this time, but we'll just give it another couple of minutes. Brian, are you on the? I don't see you on the list, but have you joined?
Who was that?
Brian,
Just
you
tell them
just
they're joining the meeting. Let's put ourselves on mute.
yeah, Kendall, he's the one.
If everybody can just go on mute once you join the meeting, we'll give it a couple minutes and we'll get started.
Folks, thanks for your patience. We'll be with you in just a moment.
We're giving it, Dan, we're just giving it another minute or two to let any latecomers join in.
Good morning, everybody. This is Chief Russo. Welcome to the South Florida Local Emergency Planning
I got
Committee
5
meeting.
past that. Ryan, you want to?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Very good. Okay. This morning, Ray could not be with us, so you have the vice chair and Miss Charlene Burke,
Good
who
morning,
is the
everyone.
new, coordinator for South Florida Regional Planning Council, is also with me here to conduct the meeting. So please bear with me as I conduct the first meeting here. So Charlene is here and she'll introduce herself as well shortly.
What I'll do is I will
But
share my
we
screen
want
so I can
to
bring up the
welcome
agenda.
everybody with the Pledge of
Can everyone
Allegiance.
share my- see my
And
screen?
can you guys
Those that
see
are- have the
the
ability to
flag
do it.
here?
Yes.
All right.
Chief, somebody else is talking.
Everybody would stand and Pledge of Allegiance. I
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Coordinator attendance, roll call. Are you going to have everyone just kind of log in via Zoom there?
I have a formal, this is Charlene Burke. I'm the new LEPC coordinator for the meeting instructions. If you could just please place yourself on mute. We'll have the opportunity for the members to speak up, particularly during roll call. That would be great. I apologize in advance if I pronounce your name wrong. Instead of saying here, if I do pronounce your name wrong, if you would be so kind to simply say your name, I would appreciate that. And at the end, if anyone has not been called upon, please speak up and I will add you to the list. Tiffany Brown Francis.
Here.
Bridget Bussell. Bridget Bussell. Camille Campbell. Camille Campbell. John Hines. Shannon Davis Weiner. Alan Donderes. Elaine Donderes.
This is he, Align Donderes. How are you?
Thank you, Elaine. Michael Garcia, Lieutenant Garcia. Michael Garcia, Lieutenant Michael Garcia. Miss Lisa Gordon. Lisa Gordon.
I'm here. Good
Thank you,
morning.
Lisa. Good morning. Frank Giaconetta, Mr. Frank Giaconetta.
I'm filling in for him. He'll be coming later. Apologies.
And your name, sir?
It's Adam Rollinger with the FDOT.
Adam, your last name again, Rollinger?
Rollinger, Rohlinger.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning.
Jamie Johnson. Mr. Jamie Johnson. Romeo Lavarius. Actually, Romeo is at a Broward County meeting today. There was a conflict, so there's an excused absence. Doug LaValle, Chief Doug LaValle. Mr. Jose Lopez. Mr. Russell McLeese. Mr. Craig Marston, Chief Craig Marston. Mr. Koenig on behalf of Brett Maxwell or Allie Eunice. I'm not sure which of you will be here today. Koenig, Eduardo Koenig or Allie Eunice. Ray McDonald will explain that. Ray, I'm not sure if you're on the call. AJ Navarrete. AJ Navarrete. Jeffrey Peleg. Benny Perez. Alfred Reed. Axel Rodriguez.
Axel Rodriguez present.
Thank you, Axel. Chief Russo is with us. Dan Scarborough. Peter Schechter.
He's here. I saw his.
I saw his name as well. Yeah, thank you. Vincent Schonberg.
I'm here.
Thank you, Vincent. Chief Shaw, Chief Stephen Shaw. Natasha Strokin. Jose Tovar. Lieutenant Alvaro Tonanes. Frida Vaughn. Michael
For
Weisberg.
Frida, if I may, for Frida Vaughn, can you delete her name? She has transferred to a different region. I replaced her. My name's Bill Senish, and I'm the rear for DOH.
I see you as the alternate. Thank you, William. Appreciate that.
Yes, I will be the primary.
Duly noted. I'll follow up with you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dr. Michael Weisberg. Mr. Keith Weston.
Here.
Keith, was that you?
Yes, I'm here.
Very good, thank you. Richard Whitehurst, Mr. Richard Weishurst. Gabriela Zahora. I'm sorry, was that for Richard Weishurst? One more time, was that Richard Weishurst? Gabriela Zahora. Gabrielle Zahora. Okay, if I may, please, anyone who is a member that would like to provide your name, thank you for roll call purposes.
Camille Campbell, Broward County.
Thank you, Camille.
All right.
Mary Napoli, Monroe County, EM.
Thank you, Mary.
Ray Aguilera, BSO Fire Rescue.
Thank you, Ray.
Hollywood Fire.
Brian Brown, Hollywood Fire. Thank you, Brian. Brian is here with us in the meeting room. Anyone else for roll call?
Yeah, good morning. It's Duran Ramkasoon from Gordon Food Services.
Thank you, Duran.
Good morning. This is Kelly Gibbs Winars. I'm with DHS, so I'm here also.
Okay, thank you, Kelly.
Good morning. This is James McLean, Miami-Dade Water and Sewer.
Thank you, James.
Recording in progress.
Thank you. Sorry about the echo, folks. We're setting up the recording. Any others for roll call?
All righty. So, Ray, are you on the call? I didn't see. Okay. Well, how do we say this? Well, Charlene and I had a meeting with Chairman McDonald last week. As some of you know, he does have some property living over on the West Coast, and that was affected by the hurricane and et cetera, et cetera. And now that he's going to be residing over there, more permanent status, in our conversation, he feels it's appropriate for him to start doing more activities on that side of the left side of the state. And he, in turn, had recommended to Charlene and myself and asked me if I would be interested in taking the chair position of the LEPC. Just a little bit of background of my involvement with the LEPC. First of all, a big thanks to Mr. McDonald and the LEPC for all the support that they've given me and a lot of the local stakeholders that I'm aware of. And it's always been great to participate and give any kind of support we can from the special operations community and the first responder community. That's how I got involved with the LEPC. And Mr. McDonald has been serving us very well in that capacity for, I believe I've been involved formally for about 10 years, and I've been around for about 14 years. However, we are definitely at a crossroads, and I will definitely say that as far as the vice chair position, and my comfort level there was good. I definitely have some things to learn and want to get more involved with the LEPC. So we just wanted to put it out there that he did, I don't say nominate, he did, what is the term, Charlene? Recommend, an official recommendation for my takeover as the chair, which would in turn put up a nomination or a vacancy for the vice chair. So what we're supposed to do in the meeting is go over the recommendations, nominations. I want to hear if there's any other conversation to be had. My recommendation to take over my spot would be Lieutenant Brian Brown from Hollywood Fire Rescue. Full disclosure, my only concern with that is I do not want the board or anyone to think, oh, wait, now all of a sudden we've got a chair and a vice chair that are both from the same entity. I don't believe that there's any way, shape, or form that could be misconstrued. But I just wanted to put that out there. And do we have any other conversation on moving forward with James Russo, Hollywood Fire Rescue, taking the spot as chair of the LEPC, South Florida LEPC, and secondarily, Brian Brown, Lieutenant Brian Brown as the vice chair, or is there any other conversation on that? And I'll just pause here.
Make a motion.
And we need to make a motion. Yes, Robert's rules, right? We
Yep.
need to make a motion on the floor to accept Mr. McDonald's recommendation or reject it, and or my recommendation, reject it for the positions of chair and vice chair. I guess we should do those separately, right? Yes. Let's amend that. Let's do that first for the chair, and we will do to make a motion, accept or reject Chairman McDonald's recommendation.
Move to accept and recommend Chief Russo.
Was that Pete?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We need a second.
Aye. Axel Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Okay, so motion, I'm looking for a motion or a conversation in reference to the vice chair position. My recommendation would be Lieutenant Brown, Hollywood Fire Rescue, but we're open to conversation.
Chief.
Yes.
It's Pete again. Look, I don't disagree that it would be good to have both of you guys there. The only problem I have is if there's some issue and Hollywood gets slammed with a problem and you both get taken out of commission to be able to fulfill that obligation, wouldn't it be better to maybe spread that over a couple different agencies just to give yourself a little bit of break?
Understood. This is exactly why I wanted to have the conversation, and that's why I wanted to put it out there. Absolutely. So
we also have the opportunity for pro tem. So in the absence of the chair and the vice chair, we can appoint a pro tem to run the meeting.
My concern, and I'll finish and be quiet, is that it's such a critical role, I think, because of where we are and how we're going to transition, as you're alluding to, and try to meet these other challenges for the region. I'm just curious if it wouldn't be good to maybe just see who else is out there. Even if you were to leave that role unfilled for this meeting in the interim and let other people either self-nominate or have other people nominated, It's just a recommendation, and this comes from dealing with a lot of ad hoc NGOs and stuff outside.
Peter, I will take your recommendation. I can also tell you that I've chaired several committees and still chair several committees before. And a big part in my mindset of being the chair is listening to what everybody is telling you. All right, this is what we need to do. That's why I wanted to kind of throw it out there. I agree. If we want to do self-nominations or nominations, and we can leave that spot vacant for a meeting. I can tell you from being in the position that, having that spot vacant until our next meeting would not be a big issue. I can tell you that's not going to change Lieutenant Brown's daily roles and responsibilities and anything that I give him for the LEPC. He's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to help out in any way, shape, or form that he can. So I think that is a great suggestion. And what shall we do about the nominations? Do we have an official email that they have to that we would do? Yeah.
I can send out an email for the chair. We're set for the vice chair. I can do a follow-up, and then it can be voted on at the May.
All right, so let's do that. Let's LEPC will do vice chair
nominations.
Mm-hmm. Thinking about it, that way we're not going, as you said, Pete, to a couple critical changes right off the bat. And it doesn't really change the players involved in what's going to get done or any ideas, or issues that pop up. We've still got a very good support group here too.
And you guys, when you do that, please send out a position description so that people understand the role. And the other thing I'd like to also say is, because now that I'm living in Hollywood, I don't want Lieutenant Brown gunning for me. I don't doubt his abilities or his energy or intellect at any level. So that being said, thank you.
Thank you, Peter. All right, what's next? So everybody should have got a copy or electronic copy of the minutes from the November 16th meeting. So motion to approve the last minutes from the November 16th meeting.
I make a motion to approve the November 16th meeting minutes.
And your name, please?
Marie Sullin, Sullin.
Thanks, Marie.
Second. All right.
I don't think you can.
We can't do
use you. We need a second.
No.
Can we get a second, please, on the approval of the minutes?
I second. It's Tiffany Brown Francis.
Thank you, Tiffany.
All right. As far as membership changes, we have Yvette McLeod, Broward County Public Schools, Environmental Health and Safety Specialist 3 as a primary. Stephanie Almy, Broward County Public Schools, Environmental Health and Safety Specialist as an alternate. Marie Sullin, AON, Claims Consultant 2, Risk as a primary. And that is all I see for the changes there. I think we have some new members that I'll be putting in this month. So for the next meeting, we should have some changes as well, and then also your roster list too. Lieutenant Tenanes, training working group. Were you able to get on? Let me just check real quick.
Well, I'm not sure.
I do not see him.
Numbers, a couple call-ins, but I'm not sure.
Well, lucky for all of us, I also participated in a lot of this training. So I feel comfortable with talking about most of what we have going on here as far as training, and I think you have some involvement as well. The anhydrous ammonia training with Publix. So what we try to do on an annual or a biannual level is we try to go to Publix cold storage facility up in Deerfield. It is a major target hazard, not only for ammonia. Obviously, anhydrous ammonia is the main target there, but there's a lot of diesel. There's a lot of different types of machinery. There's a lot of cryo there. There's there's obviously, when something happens there, it has potential for a major release. So that being said, we try to get out and about as the responding hazmat teams. The 4 teams act as a loosely based regional response team. So what we did is we've had 3 days of half-day tours with all 4 teams, and we really went through that facility. Because of COVID, it had been, probably 3 years since we've been in the facility. It also is very important to me because I actually live pretty close to the facility. So I would probably be one of the first ones on scene, whether I was on duty or not, if something happens there. I can tell you that the training went very well with public's representatives. It was one of those trainings that it's very cost effective, just time and effort and coordination. But very beneficial to pre-planning and the mission of the LEPC. I can tell you that what it developed for us, both on the hazmat and the TRT side, is we're trying to bolster up our pre-planning. Even though we have been doing target hazard pre-planning, there's a couple things that we're doing in the works to try to modernize it and make it very appropriate for a response-based or an incident-based response. So the 10th annual Hazmat Symposium, I can tell you that for the 10th year, they really pulled out all the stops. Some of you may know that started as kind of a branch from the Fire Chiefs Association of the Fire Rescue East program, which is now, after this year, going to be called the Florida Fire Conference. And we believe, in talking to leadership, the Hazmat Symposium was about 95% sure that they were going to be moving along with the Florida Fire Conference to have those complementary symposiums. Charlene, the coordinator, came up and we did some touring. We went to our CERC meetings. There was 560 plus people in attendance at the Hazmat Symposium alone, which is really huge. I was very impressed with not only the classes that were there, the vendor floor, the state was represented as well, and a lot of good stakeholders. There was a lot of information out there, and it looks like this symposium is up and running and is going to be here to stay for a while. It's definitely one of the biggest, as far as hazmat, it's the biggest hazmat symposium that I've ever been involved with. So we took out some good stuff, and we'll keep you guys posted. I can tell you from Broward County alone, the LEPC sponsored about 30 fire rescue personnel to attend classes and or competitions and be able to stay up there. I was up there for 5 days. So it was definitely a hit and definitely worth the training investment. For OSHA HAZWOPER, Broward County's Environmental Permitting Division is in progress. Additional requests for this training, please contact Charlene Burke. I know that she is working with the vendor that has done this in the past. And that is all online, correct?
Yes.
So the HAZWOPER online, just like we've been doing the last couple of years, we're getting those out. The 160-hour hazmat tech course coordination is in progress with Toby to offer as an additional training. Also, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue will deliver 2 with 24 students course with priority to Miami-Dade personnel. Any remaining seats to open to the region, and they do not have a date set. So the LEPC, the way that we started running this as far as the Broward teams a couple of years ago, is we wanted to get a higher quality class, trying to use members from our team that are qualified to teach. So what we ended up doing was we reach out to the IFF. We make sure that they can come down, teach the first half of the class, get chemistry and a couple of those subjects out of the way. Then our people step in, we do scenarios, we cover a lot of the other topics, and everything gets registered with the state, and it ends up being a higher quality product for a lot less investment from whoever is supplying your sponsorship. In our case, the LEPC has delivered to the 4 teams one vendor last year, And we wanted to do the same thing this year with Toby and hazmat classes. And the intent there is just to bolster up the 160 hours, and he would be out there for 24 hours. And that's what we did. Basically, what we've had him come out once a year, at least once a year for the last couple of years. It looks like Miami is doing a very similar thing. They have some more in-house staffing to be able to put on the class with some sponsorship funding from the LEPC. The other advantages that gives your responders is it's FaceTime. As I told you, in Broward County, you've got 4 teams that make up the regional team. So anytime that we can get those 4 fire departments together to train and FaceTime together, it just makes for a smoother team cohesiveness and smoother incidents when things do go wrong. So that's where we're at with this. So any questions on anything that we've got on with the training work group? And again, if you have anything that you would like to present, request, contact Charlene Burke, the new coordinator. Jason has moved on, but Charlene is here and she's in the office every day. So planning. We need to establish a planning working group for 2023 LEPC regional hazmat plan updates. Now, on this one, on planning, I don't know who was working on planning before.
Okay, so for I'm not sure how you all have managed this in the past. I did not have the luxury of a succession opportunity here at the Regional Planning Council. So what I would suggest, if the members are amenable, the documents, I did not attach it. The document is 197 pages. There are, of course, focus areas that reflect the membership. And so my suggestion would be that I will send out separate today to the members, the document in its whole for the last version. This is an opportunity to mark up. And I would suggest that, for example, if you are in healthcare, you look at those items that are related to healthcare and verify the information, any markup that needs to happen to do that. That's just one example. And then this document is due back to the state in June. We'll have an opportunity to bring it back to the membership in May. And we can discuss any updates at that time. But you can, as individuals, send me markup. I will compile one document with, red line underlining for a final review in advance of the meeting, and then for the final at the May meeting, so that we can get that back to the state on time. And certainly this is a opportunity for discussion on that item. If anyone would like to discuss how you guys weighed in the past, or how you would like to weigh in presently.
And the hazmat plan updates, that includes our deliverables, like for the Monroe County?
That will be part of it.
Yep. Okay. So as far as exercise, as most of us know, Operation Heat Shield was delayed. So the exercise Miami-Dade Public Safety Training Institute and remote locations is rescheduled for March 7th. I will be in touch with Mr. Tananez to find out if we still have anyone that is going to be an evaluator. I know at one point Jason was going to go down. 5 evaluators. Okay. Oh, so we have 5 evaluators established?
Yes.
So we don't need any other resources down there?
Not to my knowledge on evaluators.
Well, there we go. So we do not need any more evaluators, but I will keep you posted on the results of Heat Shield 4. Just a little sidebar, everybody, you see something, you say something. As we unfortunately see by today's events, this day and age, the active shooter, active killers, for many different methodologies it looks like it's here to stay. So we need to find ways to try to be better prepared. And Heat Shield definitely does a good job in trying to get multiple stakeholders, different disciplines involved in the big ticket here, where we need to get involved and stay involved is unifying and communicating wants and needs. And then the second thing is going to be unified command. So the LEPC exercise in August, we actually did our exercise with the double flare-offs. We had the 4 teams. We need to do one more functional exercise that we voted to do a plan exercise. So we also need to establish concept objectives for the working group plan for the 2023 LEPC exercise. So as a reminder, last year we did the flare off, and the year before that, we did the RAD. So there is a heavy influence and a lot of scuttlebutt from the federal level down, and a lot of money being put into RAD. So I can say that as far as response teams, we're paying close attention to that. But we're definitely looking for ideas for where we want to go with the planning the exercise for this time around. As far as the exercise, we definitely do good with a little work group training, exercise planning, which we usually try to do that group immediately following this meeting. It has worked out that is the best way to get people to participate, stay on for a couple of minutes, and then we'll divvy up a couple of duties and then just circle back with each other. If we have no objections, I would like to keep doing the same thing. Please do not be shy. We are looking for ideas. I can tell you one of the other big things that you guys have probably all seen on the news, and I don't know how much we can do for an exercise, but just something to think about is a lot of these power infrastructures. All right. The substations are very vulnerable, and they've been attacked by a lot of homegrown terrorists and different political groups. And that's another one that we're hearing a lot about, and as well as the cyber attacks on water infrastructures too. So what they're looking at is infrastructures and how to basically paralyze different municipalities. So just to throw that out there, I don't know if we can work up something with that. Bio is always a threat. And of course, just looking at our target hazards in the area, we can just look at a map and point and find something in an area that we can work and exercise on. But we're looking to definitely do a robust exercise this year. So if you have any of those ideas, please make sure that you get those to us. We're looking for ideas. I don't know if you hear the desperation in my voice. I want to do something that's going to be valuable and something different, and something that we could really get a lot of people involved. So
you can stay on the call at the end.
Sure, we can actually start out today, no time like the present, to get it started, and we'll see where that'll give us a line in the sand, and we can go from there. I wish we had Chief Tananez on, but I'll circle back with him later on today. So Charlene, this is your report. So you get to introduce yourself officially now.
Okay. There we go.
Oh, I should have checked myself.
It's okay. You're great. Hi, everyone. I'm Charlene Burke. I'm the new staff member here at the Regional Planning Council. And it is my distinct pleasure to be able to serve as staff in the capacity for this illustrious board. So I'm very happy for the opportunity, and I'm going to work hard for you and Chief Russo and Tananez, and just to make sure that whatever your needs are, that I help get those met. And hopefully in time, with my background in grants, I can help to figure out a way to bring down more money that will help you guys to get more training. So I'm going to keep my report section really brief. I did attach a couple documents for you that you can review at your leisure if you haven't already. I have been attending the Region 7 specialty teams meetings. Those are hazmat and technical rescue teams. I've been to 2 of those. And at those, I have the opportunity to work closely with Chief Russo. It gives us some networking time together so that we can bring a lot of the stuff that comes out of that back here to this meeting. I did have the opportunity to attend the 10th annual Hazmat Summit. It was an incredibly
put together. One thing that you maybe not have caught, but some of you that attended, I believe they mentioned there were like 12 different states, maybe even more, from Alaska to the Carolinas, pretty much all over the country. So this is the go-to hazmat symposium. So congratulations, Florida and our region, and well done for Michelle. I know she really works very hard, Michelle Kashowski, on pulling that together. So thank you for the opportunity to participate. I have attended as part of the meeting that are held for the LEPC, the state LEPC. I did participate as well with the training task force meeting that was on the, they basically co-mingled, they put everything together conveniently for us. I know some folks had to step away. There were like 3 things going on simultaneously. So the location in future years, I think they really took that into consideration. So anyway, I provided minutes for you all from the LEPC meeting that were provided by the State Department of Emergency Management. There were conversations at the meeting and presentations. One was on Orange County fireworks. I think Chief Russo is better prepared to speak to that. There are, as I said, minutes provided. Buxos did a brief presentation. Florida Department of Emergency Management, they've been really wonderful to me as a new staff member. I can tell you that they're really struggling to get staff on board. They're having succession issues, as a lot of other folks are, but they've been really helpful to me, the whole team that is there, and they're filling those positions. I think they just filled another 2. So they're making progress. So if you reach out to the state with the folks you normally used to reach out to, you may or may not get to them, but you'll get to someone, your communications will get forwarded. So thanks for your patience with the state. Chief Lamb, you can maybe want to talk about that, Chief. There's also information that was provided on funding strategies, looking on how to update the hazard analysis guides. Do you want to speak to any of those bullets, sir?
So, yeah, they talked a little bit with the training task force, the Orange County fireworks warehouse explosion. On that one, there was a lot of problems, obviously, once the incident started, because of the hazard that you're dealing with there. But the real issue here in Orange County was there was a lot of unpermitted fireworks storage. So this is where the LEPC kind of comes in. There was a lot of unpermitted fireworks storage that ended up causing that was what caused the incident, and then the subsequent explosions and secondary explosions. So they're looking to bolster up what we're doing for planning and e-planning, target hazards as well, and what we're doing as far as from a response district, meaning fire department inspections, and not only inspections from our side, from our prevention bureaus, but the pre-planning from the side of an operational pre-plan for those in the fire service. Basically, for those not in the fire service, excuse me, we like to visit and not only see what is stored, but make tactical plans on if something happens, then something needs to be allocated, right? Or this tactic needs to be employed. So we're going through a lot of that. I know Chief Lamb was looking at a lot of that stuff to internally and externally to bolster those up. As far as funding, I took a class while I was up there, and it basically was talking about sustainment of your special operations teams and hazmat teams. Historically, we're down the list when it comes to funding sometimes, and we get a lot of help from grants, LEPC, county grants, etc. And what I found out in talking to a lot of people is that we're actually, yes, we're all in bad shape, meaning the money is not there at the municipal level, and we're all dependent on other sources. However, as a region or as a local municipality cannot complain, because I've got better support than a lot of the other agencies that are out there. So that doesn't mean that we just close up shop and say that this is going to be as good as it's going to get. What that means is we need to start looking into creative funding sources. We need to do a better job at marketing ourselves. And I could probably say that for the LEPC as well. You know, even with my background, I didn't know too much about the LEPC until I got further involved. So I think that's something that, you know, maybe we should make a note of and see what we can do there. But I can tell you, and a lot of you I know, I'm preaching to the choir, we need to do a better job of showing that what we can do and what we are doing behind the scenes for the incident. And I think that that's going to also help out. I can tell you that there's several initiatives, myself included, in looking into private-public relationships and what we can do for each other. And there's not always a funding source tied to that, but it's this is what we do, and we're here, and we'd be happy to do this. And you just build those relationships. So I can tell you that we're doing a lot of that. Let's see. As far as the Buxus, I did not get to see the Buxus. I know Buxus has a lot more pipeline integration and a lot of information out there than even is on the FDEM site. But I did not get to see that presentation, so I won't speak on that one. So let's see what else we've got here.
There isn't anything I really need to. Not to belabor the point, the bullets are provided. These are the different activities that I have been involved in. I guess the next, I did conduct a workshop for Tier 2. We did that this week on Monday. That's a general education for Tier 2 facilities. I'm doing some ongoing training with ePlan, working with the state. I think the most important thing is having communicated with the state on the meetings that we are having, the LEPC meetings. It was the recommendation of the Florida Department of Emergency Management that as quickly as possible, we try to come back to conducting in-person meetings. So our next meeting in May will be in person. Primarily, we will offer a hybrid option. We'll do Zoom again, but Chief Russo and I spoke at length, and even with Mr. McDonald, the value of the in-person meetings. And so that's going to be the direction moving forward. Chief Russo, would you please, I can certainly introduce, but would you like to talk about the Thomas Yatabe Award and you're receiving that, which was a surprise, which was wonderful.
Well, what part do you want me to say? So Mr. McDonald and Charlene kept this as a secret from me until I was actually in a meeting. And without making a big story of it, I almost didn't get this award because I was one of those guys that had to hop from meeting to meeting to meeting. And I was about 2 minutes away from walking away. And I looked up and Charlene is pointing at me and saying, "Go look, that's you." And my name was on the board. So I was nominated for the Thomas Yatabe Award for efforts, I guess we did last year in putting together the double flare off in the exercise and getting the 4 teams together. What we actually did was we did a simulated accident that breached or potentially breached, and we had a propane active leak next to a structure. So we had a couple of teams check that out. And then we ended up doing a double flare off. So we had a flare off, and then we had a little extra visual punch for everybody involved. So that is why I got the award.
Congratulations again. I know that's a
so thank you for nominating me. It was a joy and a pleasure. And honestly, I didn't even know I was doing anything. If it was just me doing that with my hazmat team, I would have probably done just about the same thing. I just wouldn't have made them practice so many times. But from when they practice individually to when we got all 4 teams together and they didn't know what was going to happen. You know, when we do drill day, they don't know exactly what the whole scenario is going to be and what's it going to entail. That way we get real feedback on how they were going to mesh together and how everything was going to work. We were able to do it at a closed facility. So we had total control over how everybody responded. And, you know, we staggered times and everything else. So it ended up being a pretty impressive event. So we're glad we finally got that in.
Congratulations. For the State Emergency Response Commission updates, I have attached the minutes from the meeting. Chief Russo, if there are any of these bullets related to the meeting that you want to discuss, please.
Sure,
You have the floor.
I'll talk about this. So the offshore hazmat pilot program, we did remember this from CERC. This is about a 10-year project to get to where we're at now. I know last year was the first delivered pilot that was in Broward County. They really listened to the lessons learned and the input from all the hazmat from South Florida, the hazmat participants from South Florida. A lot of the agencies, we had 2 members per agency. So I can tell you that the offshore hazmat program is going to be coming back around. And it's going to have some modifications. And the biggest modification is going to be the length of class. The length of that class needs to be a couple more days than what they even anticipated, even as they developed it. Logistically, it's a very tough class to put on because when we're talking about offshore, we're talking about getting very large vessels. And part of, the class has to be getting from a small vessel to a larger vessel, getting your equipment onto the vessel, you're wearing PPE. So those were a lot of the challenges. I can tell you that the CERC committee, as well as the Coast Guard, is prepared to keep funding the program. And I will definitely say that I will be involved. I've got a couple of, how can you help me? I'm going to go out and try to solicit some help with our port friends and any kind of stakeholders down here before you see the next delivery of that. But that didn't go away with just one delivery. They're taking the lessons learned from that. And and I'll be honest with you, all the hazmat providers were very frank. And the first thing that they did was they called a lot of the TRT guys because they needed some of that help. So when we see a class in the future, it might have some type of component that breaches over into some of our other disciplines. And that's all legitimate for getting a recon on another vessel to see what we want to do with the vessel. Do we want to leave it out? How are we going to mitigate this situation? As far as Chief Murphy, the Florida Fire Chiefs Association, I did not get to see Chief Murphy there. I saw him at the Fire Rescue East. Basically, is now going to be the Florida Fire Convention, which the Hazmat Symposium will probably be moving with that. Do not quote me on the hazmat part yet until we can confirm that. Let's see. Scott Chappell from State Fire College is working on both the hazmat coordination and TRT side. I will actually see him next week. I did not get a chance to speak with him at length. And I believe, let's see, that is all that I have. Upcoming meetings, Training Task Force, April 20th at 9:30. I will be there. And the 20th is also the LEPC, April 20th in Orlando. And the CERC Commission, April 21st at 9:30. On this LEPC meeting, they don't usually do a Zoom on that. That is just for us, correct? They don't also do a Zoom.
It's in person, yeah.
Okay. Heat Shield 4 is rescheduled to March 7th. Be happy to see that. And the CERC Training Task Force meeting in Orlando is April 20th to 22nd. Charlene and I will both be up there. Do we have any member comments? I know I just unloaded a whole bunch of information on you. That or I put everybody to sleep. I did one of the two. Any comments? Public comments?
Chief. I don't know if I count as public or not. It's Pete. Look,
Pete.
End of last year, I had the opportunity to go to a 2-day seminar at FDNY's Training Academy that dealt with lithium battery.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
And energetic materials, which they're essentially kind of behaving like low order explosives in a fire situation. If there's any way that the LEPC can help support, fund, create a mechanism, it was good. We had UL researchers and scientists there. We had an ATF engineer there, and they actually caused failures and did live demos of how this stuff behaves. because it's becoming so much of a hazmat centric problem, New York City's just ahead of us in terms of quantity, but I see them everywhere. E-bikes, especially home systems with battery banks. Obviously, the EVs are still emerging as a threat. I don't know if it's something that we'd want to try to recreate, but I have some good reach to New York to try to maybe get some of their preventers and recreate that program here if you're interested.
Okay. Pete, I am so glad you brought that up. I don't know how it skipped my mind, but that was one of the things that obviously you are 1000% correct. It is a very hot topic in the fire community, not only, you know, the hazmat special ops community. And the reason being, obviously, the way that these batteries behave with thermal runaway is an issue. But then we end up going into hazmat because of rare earth and runoff, et cetera, et cetera. So the class that you went up to in New York, we had several members from the region as well, from the hazmat special ops side. And I also had several members from the fire department training staff attend. I was unable to attend that Hazard 3 class. However, the same company with the stakeholders at FDNY that put on that class do put on classes locally. We have reached out. I introduced Charlene to one of the representatives, Manny Margolis from Safeword, that definitely has contacts with Hazard 3 is the name of the company that I would say is a front runner on a lot of this lithium ion training. The chargers, as you said, the wall chargers, the charging walls, these are all becoming a real problem for us. So on a local level, just to put everybody, I don't know if it's going to put you at ease, but to let you know where we're at. We've been following, obviously, what you said in New York and all around the world, what's going on. And we've been talking to a lot of industry leaders. I've attended several local classes down at the auto show before the auto show opened, as well as some of our own classes. And here's where we're at. At a Broward County level, we have made an EV and charger protocol with stakeholders from several different departments that I just submitted to the Fire Chiefs Association of Broward County. What our intent is to make that a regional protocol, so that no matter what fire departments are showing up in South Florida, everybody should have a good idea on what to expect and what to do. I agree that we are only this is the beginning of what we're going to see with the popularity of the e-bikes, with all these batteries cycling out and getting charged, overcharged, and just duration of life. We're going to see more and more of these incidents. There are a couple different mitigation efforts as far as what we can do with the smaller batteries to try to store them. And, obviously the big problem is the reignition. So what we will try to do is I'm waiting on a call back from Hazard 3, and I would like to propose to see what they're doing for classes for both the technical special ops level down to the firefighter, or even the awareness level. I want to see what they have to offer and go from there. As far as in the class that you were in, they were showing you failures in cages and everything, correct? You guys got to see explosions?
Yeah, that's right. So and they did it really safely, but really well, but it's an energetic material. It really kind of is more like a low order explosive when it fails, and it projects objects that are heated to the point of continuing the ignition elsewhere in the compartment everywhere. And the other thing it does from a firefighting perspective, it'll blow out. It's so hot at floor level when they fail that it blows out the ticks, the thermal imagers. So people look down a hallway and they can't see it because it's blind.
Right. It scopes it out. Right.
They also, they have an interesting protocol to overpack stuff for evidence too, which might be applicable for you guys in here.
That's what I'm looking at.
This is one of the biggest fears in the aviation community. We don't allow this stuff, but our customers and the traveling public are very creative about hiding and disguising things. So one of our greatest fears is having these things wind up in the cargo hold of an aircraft.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's got to be a big battle for you guys. So I don't know if I just scared everybody more or put you at ease that yes, it's more than on the radar. We have active plans. And what I had discussed with Charlene when we were back at the hazmat symposium was just that. Let's get a map of what types of classes are offered, the feasibility of doing it, and then we can bring it back to the body here and see where we want to go with it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, the other thing is there's a guy that's local to the state that does a lot of the recycling and remediation.
Okay.
That may be, initially I was wary to have somebody like there, but he actually brought a lot to the table because eventually you're going to need a contractor to do a lot of, just like for spill remediation.
Correct.
This is a specialty area. These are the kind of things that maybe we get pre-qualified and have as a resource for the community as well.
Pete, I would love to talk offline if you still have my number. If not, stick around.
Someplace. But
okay,
hey,
taken care of.
I'm local now, so it's a lot easier.
Okay,
that's fine. And I just thought it's a trending topic. If we're looking for ideas for other presentations,
yes,
I'm sure that we could talk those guys into coming down and recreating the failures. You need a little bit of bomb tech stuff to do that, but it's not a big deal. We have the resources.
I can tell you, Pete, that some of the guys that were at the class, I've seen some of the pictures, but I don't want to speak on, I know it was very impressive, but I've got guys that were there that are working on similar props, or I should say safety barriers here. So absolutely, I want to do it the right way. And you and I definitely need to talk so we can move forward on this. At a very minimum, we need to get some transparent training, I think, both for the public and for first responders. The special ops guys know of it, and it's a challenge. But I think at this point, it's really the word needs to be widespread. And we all saw what happened after, saltwater intrusion. That's something that you didn't see or hear of from any of the manufacturers before the hurricane. And I find it hard to believe that was never tested at some point. So we're still finding out fun little things about these packages. So, and I'm sure it won't be the last bit of information. So I thank you for reminding me about that. And yeah, we're definitely on that. That's the hot topic.
One last thing in regards to this, I sit on the Arson and Explosives Committee for the International Association of Chiefs of Police.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big deals here is to make sure that we educate police first responders, because often they will put themselves in a bad position and trapping themselves, not realizing what's going to happen with these things. So whatever we do, we need to spin something off for them too.
100%. That's a great point. All right. Any other comments, questions? All right. So no member. We had Peter. Any public comments? All right. Next meeting, South Florida LEPC meeting, May 17th. If you cannot make it, or you still want to stay in your sweatpants because you're still doing COVID protocol, we'll have a Zoom. And what is our address here? It is Oakwood Plaza, suite number 250 in Hollywood.
I'll send that in.
May 17th. And of course, Charlene will send that out. That being said, if there's no other questions, motion to adjourn.
Can we get a motion to adjourn?
Hi, this is Lisa Gordon. I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Can we get a second? Thank you, Jamie.
Second. Thank you, Jamie.
Okay, so what we'll do, we'll stop the recording and then we can have a working group.
The working group, see if anybody can stay on, just so we can at least see if there's any ideas on where we want to go. And then I'll circle back with Chief Sananez and we'll go from there. So if you'd like to stay on, I'll give it a couple minutes.